Yeah, you can. Uh, yeah, if you hit those three dots, you can hit edit name on the very top.
Oh, I see. Yeah, edit name.
We are live, just so you know. So, hey, folks,
Awesome.
welcome. We're seeing how the sausage is made here. We're trying.
Sorry, I'm a boomer. There we go.
Yeah, welcome to today's editions of the Left Wing Live. We have a great show prepared for you. I like when people say that whenever they start. You ever watch a show and they was like, "We got a fantastic show for you, folks," and it's every single show.
We should just say we got a really shitty show for you.
I know, right? It's like, got to be real with you, folks. We got a pretty lackluster show.
Yeah, this show is gonna be ass.
You want to skip one? This is the one.
This is gonna be yeah. No. We won't. No hard feelings, you know. But we're joined by a fantastic creator who I ran across on TikTok, GoofyWise. Thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I am excited to be here.
Good stuff. So, what do we want to talk about first? John and I discussed what we want to talk about first. I can't remember what it was. Is it the?
Well, we already have a comment asking about the whistleblower. So
okay,
we can do that now if you want. That's a fine one, in my opinion.
So, which exact hotel? So I don't know the hotel he died at, and why haven't they released this? Or yeah. So the funny thing about this is that he died like 3 days ago. They didn't release the fact that he died until 2 days after his death, which pretty suspicious. I mean,
yeah.
He's not coming back to life, and he's not getting any deader. So I don't know why you're holding the information back. But yeah, bingo, exactly. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and go with that. All right. So as you guys have heard, that there was a manager for Boeing who was in the middle of his deposition against Boeing. And he had already testified a couple of times, and he was set to testify a couple more. And he went back to his hotel. And it reminded me of A Few Good Men. You guys ever see A Few Good Men?
Yeah. It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah, so in A Few Good Men, you have Colonel Jessup, Jack Nicholson, and then his executive officer, Lieutenant Colonel Markinson, I think his name was. He knew the dirt on Jessup, and he was set to testify against Jessup, and he couldn't do it. And he went into his hotel room, he got dressed up in his dress blues and put a bullet in his mouth. And that's what it reminded me of, except that was a movie. And this is, I titled this live that this is the least suspicious death of all time. It's like, it's like, I have no proof that this was actually a murder, that this was an assassination. But man, how could you not think that? Like, I don't know how you could think otherwise. Like, the timeline just doesn't make any sense. Like, if you felt so bad about testifying against Boeing, a company who is putting the lives of thousands of people at risk, and you say, okay, I'm going to step up to the plate. I'm going to go testify and talk about all this bad shit, but I'm only going to do it halfway, and then I'm going to kill myself. I got to tell you, that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. Like, it just, you're in for a penny, in for a pound. Why would you just, off yourself at the last minute? I haven't seen like the details from the coroner or whatever on the gunshot wounds. And of course, we're probably going to find that, he had 2 gunshot wounds to the back of the head and obvious suicide, and stuff like that. But it's darkly funny. It's horror. It's horrendous, but I do find it darkly funny. I'll toss it to you, GoofyWise. What do you think about all this?
I think it's just funny how, God, I feel horrible saying funny, considering someone lost their life. But like, it's funny how the entire internet across the political spectrum, everybody agreed that this man did not kill himself. You know what I mean? Like, no matter who you ask, it's like, bro. Are you serious?
This guy may have killed himself less than Jeffrey Epstein.
Literally, I was just thinking that. I was like,
you talk to like the most radical communist, or you talk to the most fascist Nazi. We're all like, all right, we're simpatico on this one.
We all agree. Fuck Boeing, goddammit. Yeah, so I think it's crazy that this happened, and it's also like it's crazy that they were able to get away with it, and like what happens now? Nothing happens now. Like Does the trial go on? Does anybody investigate? Was Boeing involved in this? Obviously, if they did, it probably wouldn't come up that way. You know what I mean? But it's like when you have that much power and influence, like things like I think offing someone are not like the hardest things to do in the world. You know what I mean? Especially when you're operating off a different judicial system. You know what I mean? It's totally different. You know?
Well, that's the thing that blows my mind is like,
yeah,
if I'm Boeing, right, and I got this whistleblower, and I got to get rid of him, it's almost just insulting to kill him and like set up a suicide. Like it's insulting to me. Like you have billions of dollars at your disposal.
Yeah,
you literally like control the airplanes in the sky. Just drop one on them.
You
know, like so like do something that doesn't look so obviously like you assassinated him. Like have him get hit by a truck or something. I don't care what.
Get
it
a death
is.
note, God damn it! Like
yeah,
something.
All of the money at your disposal. This is the way you do it. Like, come on.
Literally, yeah. It's almost too obvious.
Allegedly,
yeah. Allegedly, of course. Yeah, allegedly, of course. It's just, that's such a great point because I got to tell you, if I were head of a multinational corporation, I had more money than God, I had all the power in the world to use at my disposal, I would be a fucking Bond villain. I would be doing like cartoonishly evil shit, and just like, oh yeah, we're gonna pretend it was a suicide in the car. Like, where's your imagination? This used to be a proper country. We used to have like actual villains, who would do wild and crazy shit.
Real villains. Bring back the robber barons, damn it.
Bring back the robber. Yes. Like, where's the tar and feathering? Like, where is this shit? It's wild. We got a comment here. I am waiting for some CCTV footage. There has to be a camera in or about the area of some degree. What hotel these days doesn't? That's a good point. It would
be a great point if I didn't already know whatever footage existed was mysteriously wiped.
Yeah.
I already know.
Yeah. Same thing with Jeffrey Epstein. They weren't working, guys. You know what I mean? Like, oops.
Coincidence.
Yeah.
And that's also the thing too, that it's it just shows how much power they have that they don't really even care because the Jeffrey Epstein thing, like this is like, it's of course like the obvious parallel is Jeffrey Epstein, because the Jeffrey Epstein story is the biggest conspiracy theory in which the actual narrative is 1,000 times more fantastical than the official narrative. Like, no one on planet Earth believes this. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know. But here's what I do know. I do know that Jeffrey Epstein had a roommate who was removed from the cell the day before his suicide. I do know that he hung himself using essentially newspaper. I do know that it was blankets. It was those blankets, but they were like the thinnest blankets imaginable.
I thought you were saying real newspaper. I'm like, oh hell no! I got paper mache.
Well,
get his ass out of there.
Well, yeah, because like he was a suicide risk, and so when you're a suicide risk, they take away your belts, they take away your shoelaces, they give you like like the material that your social security card is made out of. That's what your blankets are, basically.
Wow,
so you can't really harm yourself. I do know that. I also know that there were 2 guards outside of his cell who both fell asleep, and I know that the cameras in the hallway stopped working. Nobody could believe that. No one on planet Earth thinks that's accurate. And so, I don't know what happened. And that's a good question, Kev. I'm curious to see what they say about the CCTV footage, because your hotel would definitely have to have one. And listen, if the footage comes out and it shows him walking to his car by himself, and although someone may have been in the car, I don't know. So I don't know. That may not even do it, but it's the whole thing is just like a simulacrum of the power of these corporations, and that you can't speak out against them. And if you do, they go one of 2 paths. They buy you off for pennies based on what they did, kind of like like what McDonald's did. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when the lady spilled hot coffee on her and everything, and they made a. You remember this, GoofyWise? It was a long time.
I didn't hear
ago.
about that. What?
Yeah, so this is like in the 90s, early 90s or something. So a woman went to McDonald's and she ordered a cup of coffee. It was an old lady, and she spilled the cup of coffee on her lap and got burned, and she sued McDonald's. Now the narrative for like the next 10 years was, I can't believe this bitch is suing McDonald's. Of course, coffee's hot. When you spill it on you, it's going to burn. That's not McDonald's fault. But then years later, when the actual facts of the case came out, McDonald's was heating their coffee like 3 times hotter than safety standards allied. So when she spilled that coffee, she got 3rd-degree burns on her groin. And it's like, yeah. And so McDonald's can do that because the settlement, whatever they paid with her, just saved them a lot of money. Like it was cheaper to do that than to like actually implement these regulations. And so that's their number one thing, that they'll just buy you out for pennies on the dollar, or, they will find a way to, get rid of you. That's probably their last option, but it's just a sad mark in how we grant all this power to corporations. And Boeing is just, I actually had no beef. Well, I had beef with Boeing for like defense contracts and shit. But over the past like 2 months, they got like doors flying off their planes. They got planes catching fire in the sky. Like, what is going on there?
I mean, this has been going on. So like, this is also the first time I've like heard of Boeing being seriously a problem. And all of a sudden, it's
likewise
everywhere. It actually makes me question. The thing that makes me maybe believe that this was not an assassination is that like Boeing's in the news all around for bad reasons right now. Like they just failed like an audit from the FAA, and they say it was like 90 something tests. 89 audits that the FAA conducted.
89 audits.
Boeing failed 33 of the 89.
Wow.
And like that's like a news story that's out there. Like Boeing is getting dragged through the mud. Why bother killing this guy? What is the cost benefit analysis?
What did he know?
Exactly. Like, how bad is it if like they're like, oh, we're okay with people know we failed 1/3 of our audits, but whatever this guy knew, that was worth committing murder for.
That stock price going.
That,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
That like a Boeing plane.
Yeah.
Hey, that 34th audit he had info on must have been a doozy, man.
Yeah.
It must have been some nightmarish shit. That was
hell yeah. I do want to add to your point though. It's like I really feel as though it's like, even if like we don't know what happened, but the feeling that the people are getting is like these corporations have so much power over us, and there's nothing we can do. You know what I mean? They can literally play in our faces. That's how bad we've lost the class war. People want to talk about class war. We've lost it so bad that they can literally kill people that are snitching on them. And what the fuck can we do about it except complain on the internet? You know what I mean? And like, it just makes me so furious. I'm like, it's like another radicalizing moment. You know what I mean?
It's also like, I wouldn't have cared. Like, whatever this guy, I probably wouldn't have cared. It would have been a news like a week like, unless like all of the planes are fucked. Like, unless what he was, but like, we already know what he was saying. This was a whistleblower retaliation case. Like, that's the weird part to me, is that like, it's not like he was about to come out with some new information.
He already
came out with the information. This was a case suing them for retaliation. So it's like, why even bother? It's very weird. But also, if he did kill himself, like it doesn't make any sense that he actually killed himself later. Because if he did, he's been in this case since 2019. Like, this has been his life.
Wow.
And it's like, why would he kill himself now when he's close to the end of it without leaving any sort of note explaining why? Like it doesn't make sense. It makes zero.
I would think that they would have to like threaten him with something, be like, okay, if you don't kill yourself, we're gonna kill, XYZ, your family. They told Martin Luther King to kill himself. They was trying to they had him on the line. You know what I mean?
That's actually, and again, I'm playing way just like fucking detective here. These guys, this is just speculation because we don't know what happened. Please don't take this anything as like analysis. But if I'm going to take a guess, I would say that they did something that got to him that caused him to kill himself, and that was not the intention. Like they got some dirt on him and they're like, stop now. But he was like, I'd rather kill myself than risk that coming out. So that seems like the most reasonable explanation to me.
Yeah.
Because they assassinated him doesn't even quite make sense either.
Yeah.
It's the funniest way this could have played out is if his suicide was entirely unrelated to this at all. Like, that morning, like his wife filed the divorce papers. he couldn't deal with it. That's actually what did it. And caused this.
And then he didn't leave a note because he wanted everyone to assume it was Boeing.
That's correct.
I think this is actually the reasonable explanation.
Look, if you are planning on ending your life first, seek some help. Call suicide hotline. There's the world is a better place with you in it. Don't go through 100%. With it. However, if you're determined to do this, do it so it just like completely fucks up the life of your enemy. Like, do it that way. Like, if
you're gonna take one last shot, make sure it's worth it.
Exactly.
Make sports for the working class, damn it, for the proletariat.
like go over to like watch them at work and watch them use a kitchen knife in the work kitchen, pick it up with some gloves and stab yourself with that, and their fingerprints are on the murder weapon. That's the way to go. If you're gonna do it, make it fun. But once again, don't do it. We don't recommend anything like that at all.
We genuinely say don't do it, even though we're smiling because it's a dark subject and we like to laugh through dark subjects. But that being said, TJ, I always say we think alike. I've said this since I was like a teenager. Like, if I ever kill myself, I'm going to use my suicide to be the most complex fuckery of someone I hate possible, to the extent that I'll get so wrapped up in fucking this guy over that I'm going to want to continue to live. Like that's my don't kill yourself plan. Well, it's worked. It's worked so far.
Yeah. Either that or make this is such a dark topic.
It really is.
Or make your suicide just completely inscrutable. Like, go out into the middle of a desert and surround yourself with, a bag of Gouda cheese, a beekeeper's hat, and some icebreakers gum, and then do it in the middle of that. People are like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, you have no clue what the hell is going on.
Somebody will still make it a conspiracy. I swear. It'd be like, it's big agriculture, right? That's why he had cheese with him. The milk. It's the problems in the milk, guys.
The bees are striking back.
Yeah.
Bees are striking back. Yeah.
We need to look into Wrigley's and see what they have to do with this. It was like, that's I don't know. It's like, I'm glad we found a way to have some levity on this because it is dark. I am interested to see how this turns out because, once again, sure, this could all be wrong. It could just be, a garden variety suicide that's unfortunate and a tragedy. But boy, does this look suspicious. That's all I got to say.
We have a commenter who said the man was about to release the Boeing 9/11 connection. This is a very jokey episode, and all three of us are jokey people, so that's part of it. But it's also because to just look at this and stare it in the face, it's just so dark. Like, it's because it's a suicide. That's dark. Like, obviously that's terrible, but it's just like, okay, what do you want me to say? Like, yeah, it's probably true that a massive corporation assassinated a whistleblower and there is nothing we can do about it. That's it. That's the fucking video right there. Like, if you want to just sit there with that, pause the video, actually keep the video playing all the way to the end, but just don't listen and just think about that over our laughter and see how long it takes you to start making jokes, because, oh my God, that's depressing to think about.
It is depressing. And I think it speaks to the state in which that we live under. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's how else but to keep going, but to laugh. You know what I mean? It's got me through it all. You know what I mean?
GoofyWise, roll credits.
Well, I do have to say one thing. The commenter that said the man was about to release the Boeing 9/11 connection, we have to take this with a grain of salt because I know this individual, Mijo Martinez, and I have it on good authority. I have all the evidence necessary that this man was not only did he have a top secret clearance in the United States military, part of the military industrial complex, but he also worked in air defense. So if anyone would know about this stuff, it'd be this guy. So, he's trying to like kind of deflect from here. So I got an eye on you, Miho. I got an eye.
So to actually, fuck it. Just finish there. Justin, cut it there. I don't need that. I was going to add something. And I was like, fuck, we don't need to. We got this to the point it needed to be.
What were you going to say, though?
I was going to say, like, just try to put a bow on it. Be like, is there any, like, thing that can change this in the future? Like, should we, like, promote any, like, policy change? But no, it's just fuck the capitalists. That's basically what the bow on top of it is. This doesn't stop until.
And don't let this scare you from being an actual whistleblower.
There we go.
I think that's a huge message. That like if they were the ones that did this, or even if they weren't, they're happy regardless, and they would benefit off the idea of like that's what happens when you become a whistleblower. That your life is going to be ruined. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that we got to speak up for justice even when it's hard. You know what I mean? And we got to protect those people who do stick their neck out and try to do right.
If you're a whistleblower and you have a gun loaded with blanks, that's the moral of the story here.
You guys say that, but I gotta tell you, this has made me more afraid to be a whistleblower. I don't know about you guys. You guys are made of tougher stuff than I am, but yeah, I'm a lot.
I whistleblow against Delta, but Boeing, I ain't fucking with them.
Those guys got street cred.
Don't fuck with the guys doing it on planes.
Martina says, I used to think conspiracy theories were radical, but as time goes by, it does make people wonder. And then we have Kev saying conspiracy theories are just the label they put on critical thinkers. All right, calling an audible here. I'm going to talk about conspiracy theories on this. So here's the thing about conspiracy. I sound like Jerry Seinfeld. Here's the thing about conspiracy theories. But so there's conspiracy theories and there are conspiracy theories. And that's the part, like, it's a shame that they're lumped into the same term, because there are conspiracy theories that are 1,000% true. For example, MK Ultra was a real thing. The CIA tried to use LSD to control for mind control the population. That's a real thing. And it didn't work. At least, well, I mean, the funny thing is that if it did work, we wouldn't know if it worked. That's so,
if it did work, we wouldn't know about it at all.
We wouldn't know. Yeah.
Or
that's what they want us to think.
That's what
exactly. Yeah.
That's a conspiracy theory.
That one's the funniest one to me. That MK Ultra actually did work, and that's how we got Trump supporters. It's
at the end of Naruto when they all got put under genjutsu. And they're like, "Oh, is this real life? We don't know. We'll never know." You know what I mean?
The LSD is on the brim of the hat and it seeps into your skin.
And there's like the Gulf of Tonkin. Didn't happen. It was a bullshit lie to help Lyndon Johnson to defend his actions in Vietnam. The CIA was smuggling drugs and cocaine all around the world. Those conspiracy theories are real and they're grounded in reality, and they have a connection to material benefit for an organization or a person. And then there's conspiracy theories like we didn't go to the moon. Like a conspiracy theory that does, or the earth is flat, like that don't make any sense at all.
Fucking lizard people that the government is.
Yeah. And so it's just like, and so I hate that they're combined together, because what you have to ask, it's like what Lenin said, look who benefits. And then you see from there, no one benefits from spreading this idea that the earth is flat. This something that we disproved literally thousands of years ago. I think it was Eratosthenes who not only figured out that the earth was flat just by looking at fucking shadows. You don't even need a complex math to do it.
Yeah.
And he, another Greek, maybe the same guy, calculated the circumference of the earth in like 1000 BC. And I think he came to the conclusion that the earth was something like 23,000 miles in circumference. It's 26,000. Like the guy fucking nailed it. That's for incredible. Being like and he did it with the moon too, and probably the sun. And so you're telling me that this guy said this, but for the next 3,000 years, people for reasons has like, no, we're just gonna tell everybody the earth is flat and gaining nothing from it. Like every Air Force, every Navy, every merchant marine, every cartographer, every space agency are all lying and they get nothing out of it. And that's what bothers me about conspiracy theories, because they just don't make any fucking sense. And like what was it? LSD. What was it?
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra. That one makes sense. You can understand why the government will want to control people's minds. Why would they give a shit if you believe the earth is flat or round? That's what bothers me about conspiracy theories.
Why would they want you to think that they didn't land on the moon? I guess like if it was faked, that would help, but the conspiracy theory wouldn't. I guess, I don't know. It helps Kubrick. I think it's Kubrick just did it. Like I think that entire like conspiracy theory is just Kubrick subtly like planting the seeds out there so that people would think that he faked it. Like that's my conspiracy theory.
I think that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, please.
I think what's very interesting about conspiracy theories is that they really are based on a lot of feeling. And I think the feeling is so true though. Like we do live in a system that is lying to us, that is taking advantage of us, that is, you know what I mean, that is exploiting us. You know, there are a lot of things that are not true in the world. You know what I mean? The American dream, one of them. You know what I mean? Like this idea that America are good guys. And I don't think we really learn a comprehensive like understanding of politics in like early age. So like I think it's only natural, unfortunately, for us to, you know, to be misled by these people who are saying, "Oh, the world's really like this," when actually it's not flat. It's not, you know, lizard people. It's not QAnon, whatever the fuck QAnon believes. You know what I mean? But it's literally that we live in a system that is exploitive to us by nature. They're taking advantage of us, and like it's right that it's good that we feel that we're being taken advantage, but much of our energy and our emotions are being misdirected in a way that is not helpful to us at all. You know what I mean? Imagine if all those conspiracy theorists were all literate on, you know, not literate, but like literate. Although that's funny, but literate like on like, you know, political theory and understood capitalism, and like people will be like, "Oh, it's not lizard people, it's literally that rich guy who just wants to have all his money and fuck us all over and the planet by the same time." You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like every fucking like kids movie we make, half of them have that exact plot line. It's so obvious that when we grow up, we have to invent these other conspiracy theories to replace
literally
the truth. And but I think that's also like the conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
The one conspiracy theory I think is absolutely true is that half the conspiracy theories out there are just plants from the people who actually have the true conspiracy theories. Like this, I guarantee you, flat earthers, if it ever comes out that like the CIA promoted the flat earth conspiracy theory, I would 100% believe that, because it does exactly what you're saying. It distracts us from the clear, and like we all feel that something's wrong. We all generally recognize there's something broken with the system out there. And the conspiracy theories give us something to point to that isn't the real problem.
Exactly.
And so those, you know, the flat earthers, you know, who benefits from the proliferation of that conspiracy theory? The ruling class, because we're pointing our fingers at people who don't matter instead of the people that do.
They're self-aware enough to know they're getting fucked over, but they're not smart enough to figure out why. And so they're just trying to grasp on anything to and another thing that plays a big part into it is people love leftists. We know this very well. There's no better feeling in the world than knowing something other people don't. It is a great feeling. You're like, you guys don't have this, you know, esoteric knowledge from the ivory tower. Let me tell you how things really are. And they're doing the idiot's version of that. And it's just funny how quickly it breaks down. Like how quickly it breaks down with like just 4 or 5 simple questions. And like with the examples, I think back to the moon landing is that they say, "Oh, we couldn't have gone to the moon." And when you look at what it takes to go to the moon, all you need are rockets and trigonometry. That is it. That's it. That's all you need to go to the moon. And like, you guys have all heard that the spaceships we sent to the moon are less complex than a calculator, you know, today. And it's like, it's 11th grade math. That, I mean, it's not even like super difficult math to figure out like the trajectory of the moon and its position to the Earth. It's insane. And COVID masks. COVID mask is another one that I really love. So you guys remember, back in the glory days of 2020, when we had everybody locked down, we had to be masked just like the lefties wanted. We were all rock hard for that shit. But remember how people would say that, well, these masks are useless, they don't work, and they're only making us wear masks because they want to control you. They want to see how far you'll go to obey them. And I was like, that is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Because Chuck, you're telling me that this mask is a test to see how compliant you are. Now, you live in a country where the police can kill you whenever they want. Your tax dollars are sent to fund 800 military bases around the world. You can't afford health insurance. You never get to see your kids. Like you guys complain about how the United States is a tyrannical nation all the time, and you still pay your taxes every year like a good fucking little citizen, don't you? So listen, like what is wearing a mask going to tell them about you that they don't already know? They know you'll do what they tell you to do. And it's just like, it was just so dumb. But once again, they know they're getting fucked over, but not smart enough to figure out why.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful point of us intersecting all of our thoughts right now into one like space. Cause like even John is like talking about how they're using it to distract us. I think that is the Republican Party's favorite conspiracy theory, is that like, oh, the government shutting down is somehow is them trying to control us. It's a litmus test for control. And it's like, really, we're just trying to make sure everybody's okay. But they have an incentive in the fact that they have an army of, conspiracy theorists. I call them zealots because they're conspiracy zealots, but that they're ready to defend any government action that might help the people, but also hinder the economy in a sense that we had to shut down the economy. So they have an incentive of having that army right there being like, no, never shut down the economy. Don't listen to the government. And that's what businesses want. They want to keep the motherfucker going. Even if we dying, they don't give a fuck. It's all about money. It's all about dollars. It's all about GDP or whatever. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I don't get it. I thought the moon landing conspiracy was an attempt to bankrupt the Soviet Union. Not my thought. Buzz Aldrin, don't come at me. Yeah, it's like because a lot of questions they ask is like, well, why did we go to the moon in the first place? We didn't give a shit about the moon. Yeah, sure, there was some value in like finding moon rocks to find out the composition of the moon's crust, and so we can kind of discover where it came from. But the real reason that we went to the moon was to flex on the Soviet Union and show them that we had technology capable of getting that high into space, and if we could do that, we could drop a nuclear bomb on you from anywhere. That was the whole point. That's the entire point of it. And that explanation makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. It makes a whole hell of a lot more sense than they did it just to make you think we went on the moon for no discernible
just to
reason.
Lie to the Russians, and to make them think that we went to the moon, even though we didn't actually go, so they would bankrupt themselves.
Well, and that's actually a great point, because when in 1969, when we got to the moon, the Soviets never disputed it once. Not once. Like the entity that had every possible incentive to tear this apart as a lie said, "Yep, looks like they got to the moon." And if they believed it, I don't know why we shouldn't either. It's wild.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
All right. That'll probably be a segment. 33:25.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Didn't plan on it, but that happens sometimes.
And that's the beauty of it. You know what I mean?
It's true.
TJ's been wanting to run a conspiracy theory segment for a while. He's been chomping at the bit.
I think that it fits perfectly, though. Like what we were talking about.
It does, yeah.
I do love a good conspiracy theory conversation. I really do. Because some things just don't make sense. Like they just don't. You're just wondering, like, well, what's going on? There's got to be something more. And we're innately curious creatures, and a conspiracy theory is better than no theory at all. Like if no one can offer you anything, you're gonna reach for it. It's kind of like the one with the mattress stores and how they possibly stay in business. That's a great conspiracy theory. Like,
well,
how many times...
TJ, I know the answer to it. I've looked into this one.
Oh, okay. What is it? Yeah.
The answer to it is the markups are fucking insane.
Really?
Like the amount that they make, if you buy a mattress for like $500, it probably costs like $40-$50 to make. And so like they don't even care. Like they can just burn money because they upsell it so much.
Wow.
And it's just none of them just because I don't know. It must be a conspiracy. Like it feels like there should be a company that could come out and just sell mattresses for what they're worth. But if they did that, I've always said this, they would go like the whole industry would go out of business because how many mattresses do you buy in your life?
How many mattresses do you buy in your life? Yeah.
It's like a car almost. Like except it doesn't cost that much.
Yeah. Martinez, this fucking asshole, he asked, curious if your own political unintentionally affected you at the workplace. I got some flack for being asked about universal healthcare pro while in the healthcare industry. Well, so Martinez and I were both in the Army. That's how I know about his secret security clearance and all that. In the Army, it didn't really bother me that much because a lot of it depends on the kind of person you are. You know, just like who, if people look up to you and respect you and they have a high opinion of you, you can say some pretty wild shit. Like I can stand in front of a platoon full of soldiers and say, yeah, I like Marxism. And they're like, oh, okay, well, that sounds crazy, but I know TJ's not dumb. And then after the Army, I joined, community action agency. So everybody's a liberal. But how about you guys? You guys ever run across that at work? Or do you talk about politics at work?
I've shockingly not. And like I don't like stay away from it, but like I will talk about it. Like, and people are usually just like interested. Like they care more about the influencer thing than the politics, So like we don't really talk politics too much, but they will they'll always. And I have people who follow me from the workplace, so like they must hear my shit. And as far as I know, it's never gotten me in trouble. So I don't know. But I do feel like that is not the typical experience. I think that what you're saying is correct. Like they respect me, and so they don't really care about the politics. But if they didn't respect me, it might cause a problem,
Yeah. They'll probably use it against you if they could. He's a communist. I hate that guy. Let me get his fucking shift. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, as I've kind of had this awakening into being like, I think I was always kind of like a leftist or a liberal growing up, but I've definitely gotten much more radicalized as I gotten older, and much of that time has been spent while I've been a full-time content creator. So I haven't had the privilege of being around people who are anti my kind of politics, I guess. I do experience it a lot in my community though, as I do try to reach out and build community. It is something that is it is increasingly isolating, unfortunately, because although people say they're okay talking about politics, they don't really want to take it to their logical end, and they kind of, it's more so like arguing to someone out of their comfortability. And it's like, I can never argue someone out. If you don't want to be uncomfortable, you're not going to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? There's nothing I can say in logical sense that would make you want to hear what I have to say or change your belief or anything. If what I'm saying is making you visibly uncomfortable. So, yeah.
John and I talked about this very thing, I think yesterday.
Literally yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we talked about it yesterday, is that people... So we get annoyed, as I'm sure everyone here
Sorry
does.
if anyone in the audience was also here yesterday, but we're going to rehash this.
Yeah. You got it again. You're getting double tapped.
Welcome back.
It really annoys us when people they don't take a position. They're like, oh, I'm a centrist, I'm a moderate. But I do get why people do that, because if you say, hey, I'm on the right or I'm on the left, the person that you're talking to is going to say, oh, so you agree with X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, and you may not agree with all of that, and you don't feel like saying, okay, well, it's not all of that. So why'd you call yourself a leftist? And so I get why people do that, but equal amount of times, it's just people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't know anything about politics. They just don't know, and they don't pay attention to it. So if you talk politics all the time and you're a content creator, odds are you are not, friends with a content creator in your personal life. And you start bringing this shit up. Say what?
Wouldn't that be cool though? Like if you just had, No, you wouldn't want it. You wouldn't want to like be near someone
because content creators are people who have the same or similar personality type than me. I would not want to hang around me for a long time. I would not. I'm sorry. I wouldn't want to do it. And so, what was I saying? But yeah, you have people who just like, well, they'll just stand off the side and say, "Oh, I'm neutral," because they don't know, because they don't want to end up looking bad. They also don't want to sound stupid because they don't know what they're talking about. And I get why it happens, but it is incredibly frustrating because, folks, you should pay attention to politics. You should. Yeah. Like, this is it's a good thing. And they also like saying, "I'm not political." Well, congratulations. Yeah, you know who is political? Your boss is political. Your banker is political. Your police chief is political. Like everyone who has like structural power over your life is absolutely political. So you ceding all that power to them makes you a coward. It doesn't make you this like enlightened, brilliant individual, and people wear it like a badge of honor. It's absurd.
Yeah, I remember the first time I told one of my friends that I was one of my neighbors, I was a communist, and they were like, "Oh, that's propaganda. I can't believe you fell." I'm like, "Have you ever read the Communist Manifesto? Do you have any idea what it's about?" And he's like, "No, I'm gonna read it." I call him like 2 weeks later. He's like, "I'm like, did you read it?" He's like, "Yeah, I can't read that. I'm not gonna read it." But I still think it's propaganda, though.
That's the propaganda. Like, that's the propaganda. Not
literally,
propaganda. So I've been saying this for a while, because the way you just like said that there, Goofy. Like I've been trying to make this TikTok. I just haven't gotten the writing correct. But like, when you meet a socialist in the wild, I feel like it must be like what gay people feel like when like they meet someone else and they're like, "Okay, my gaydar's going off," and they start testing the waters. Like when I meet someone else in public, it's like they're like, "Oh, he's complaining about, you know, how much money the company makes and how little he's getting paid. Let's slip a little. Let's say solidarity and see how they react." And then you just kind of like test it out, and eventually you're like, "Yeah, you're a full blown fucking socialist, right?"
Yeah. I say liberation. That's my go-to word. How do they respond to liberation? Testing those waters, you know.
That's good shit. All right. We want to go to TikTok, John. You want to take that one for us?
Let's go TikTok. All right, guys. So a lot of things that we talk about on this show, you know, we're fortunate enough that there's a good chance they won't affect us too severely. You know, we are okay. We're not the most vulnerable people in society. However, the government is doing something that will specifically affect us more than it will anyone else, and that is the TikTok ban. The House of Representatives nearly unanimously, like by a ridiculous, was it? You know, I forget what even the margin was.
352 to 65.
Yeah, like it was ridiculously large margin. Like you would think that they were passing a defense spending raise or something. That like they're like, yeah, nope, getting rid of TikTok, and it was like swift, instantaneous. I felt like they were like debating it one day, and then like 3 days later it was passed. And it is a huge concern for me personally, because I am on TikTok. I like TikTok. But the big question, like the big debate around this is TikTok a national security threat? And then even if it is it worth banning? Because to me, I mean, I have my own thoughts on it. Obviously, I think all of us would be against a TikTok ban for our own personal sakes. But do either of you feel like there is merit to the ban?
Merit, not in my benefit, but I think there is merit in the sense that, like, to their benefit, there's a good reason why they would want it gone. You know what I mean?
Their benefit is in the government, or like the United States of America as a people.
I would say they're the government. You know what I mean? Just in the general, in the sense that, like, I mean, I don't know how much we want to get into it right now, but like, I think that most people, half of the United States is on TikTok. A lot of people are getting their news on TikTok, and not from CBS, MSNBC, MS, whatever the fuck that is. CNN,
whatever the letters are.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So like, we're going on TikTok to get our news, and I think that for the first time in a long time, we've been able to see past the veil of the empire of American propaganda. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that is not something that they would want to happen often. You know what I mean? I think we see, you know, leftists and non-leftists, but, you know, people who just care about life are starting to build, you know, the infancy of class consciousness, and this does not benefit them at all. You know what I mean? They wanted to go back to how it was, where we just believed everything we saw on CNN. You know what I mean? Or make it like Facebook, and can't talk about Palestine on Facebook. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw a curveball at you guys
Oh,
here.
are you
And
pro ban? Interesting.
I'm pro ban. I'm pro
Okay.
ban.
This
Yeah,
fucking
'cause
I think I know where you're going with this.
ex-military fucking ward of the state over here. He's actually a
I think I know where you're going with this.
meant to
let's
destroy
fucking
us.
go. Let's fucking go. So
Let's hear
listen,
it.
if I feel entirely confident in saying that if this TikTok ban goes through, I hope it is the first domino in getting rid of social media altogether. I want it gone. Social media, like this experiment has failed, folks. Like this is like we thought that this would, enlighten the masses and bring us together. Things have only gotten worse, since we've got social media. We thought that it's like the meme that, access to education and information is all we did. Apparently not. Apparently not. Apparently, it's just as easy to spread incredible nonsense. How many, 68-year-olds do you know who were normal fucking people 15 years ago, and they are absolutely insane now? Like they have just like lost all connection to reality, and that's because of social media. And so, of course, I'm joking, obviously, with the I hope all social media is banned, but only kind of joking. But it is a feast or famine type of thing, and I think you're correct that, especially with the Israel thing, is that I wish I would have wrote this down or who the source was, but it was some like Israeli official.
Oh, I think I have that video as well.
Okay, yeah.
He's from he's an APEC. I forgot his. I just screenshotted his name actually. If you want me to grab that really quick.
Sure.
His name is here it is. He is Jonathan Greenbalt.
Okay,
he works for APAC.
Okay, yeah. And he was talking about how crushing TikTok has been in lowering people's opinion of the Israeli occupation and the conquest and ethnic cleansing of Palestine. And he said, listen, we are not dealing with a left-right issue here. We're dealing with a generation issue here.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, no matter where young people are on the political spectrum, they see what's going on in Palestine. And since they are rational human beings, members of the same reasonably intelligent mammalian species that we are, they're like, okay, this is fucked up. This is an absolute atrocity, and they're not backing it. And he says that we are on the verge of losing this, in the very near future. And TikTok has done a lot to push that through. So I am convinced that is a huge part of it. I don't think it's the only part of it, though. I think there's more. The other part you guys are aware is not news to you, but it's that TikTok is draining sweet money away from American social media companies, and Instagram, Facebook, their users have been steadily declining over the last couple of years, and TikTok's is going through the roof. So it's not that they want TikTok gone, they just want TikTok theirs. And which, hey, I have a ton of complaints about TikTok too. If they end up selling it, if ByteDance does end up selling it, and it goes to someone who doesn't, take down my videos because I said the word vinegar incorrectly, maybe it'll be fine. But that's my thoughts on it. That there are a lot of, like, to me, rather obvious reasons of why they're doing this. It's still fucked up, but once again, it's like you said earlier, GoofyWise, like there's nothing we can do about it. We're essentially medieval peasants in this. We have no say.
Yeah.
I really hate the way the battle lines have been drawn over this, because I rarely say this, but the Israeli official was right. He's telling the truth.
Rarely say, for sure.
It's a very rare statement. I'll savor the moment, but like, it is a generation divide. It genuinely is, because left right isn't really the divide right now. Like, the Democrats joined in on this. I know a lot of people who are probably definitely more centrist than me, who I otherwise, I respect their opinion quite a bit, but like, they're just like, yeah, no, we have to do this. It's a national security threat. I'm like, what the fuck? Where is your goddamn principles? Like, because I don't understand. If I don't think people understand what a fucking human right is. Like I talk about this with immigration all the time, but I thought people would at least understand it with freedom of speech, which is the one that I feel like most of us understand the most. Is that like we can't just deny Chinese people the freedom of speech. It's a human fucking right. Like if we think we should have it, we should think they should have it. We have talked for years, my entire lifetime, about how China is this authoritarian state. And one of the big reasons, the huge reasons, is that they control their internet. They don't let American apps on their internet. And everyone for the past entire time of my life has gone, yeah, no, that's wrong. And then it's just like, oh, yeah, but we're going to do the same thing. And it's like, how can you say that with your whole fucking chest? Like, yeah, let's do the same thing we've been calling a China authoritarian for decades. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I think the veil of, you know, I don't know if this is the right word, American exceptionalism, but like, oh, we're so good. You know what I mean? I think it's coming down for sure. Like we got to think about like what America historically has done, you know, over like 80 actions and overthrowing other governments. You know what I mean? The banishment of the Communist Party, McCarthyism, Red Scare. You know what I mean? Like we're about to see how really ugly America is, and they're not going to be able to say like, oh, look how sweet America is compared to horrible, evil, nasty communist China who they're so bad. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to be able to say that pretty soon because like the veil is coming off. You see what we're doing in Palestine and in the hypocrisy in comparison to Ukraine. Like we're looking like hypocrites right now, and I think people are realizing that for sure.
God, I have so much to say on this. There's just so many things. TJ, say other things before I.
So I wanna give I've been giving props to Republicans several times this episode.
I fucking Rand Paul. I hated liking him talk.
But I want to talk about. So one thing that we like to say a lot is that capitalists are pigs. They're awful. They're a blight on humanity. You know, we'd be a better place without them. Like our exposition talking about how you shouldn't commit suicide does not apply to capitalists, just so you know. And I just want to say,
wait, no, hold on. I'm not co-signing that. I also think that capitalists shouldn't kill themselves. That's the majority of Americans, TJ.
no, not capitalists as in
like the capitalist class. Okay,
like people in the capitalist class,
like the ruling class.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you know, it's your average Joe person who doesn't know any better, of course not. But you know. Eric Trump, I'm perfectly fine with losing him. Okay, but
I won't lose any sleep over it, TJ.
But you do have to give them credit for 100 years of amazing anti-socialist propaganda. I mean, like you've convinced the American people to their core that you having a say in your workplace is bad for you, and that you know your boss essentially controlling a fiefdom in which everything he says goes is good. And also we need to cut taxes so the richest guy in your town has even more money. And this is like the majority opinion for a lot of Americans. That is incredible work for propaganda. And another good example, like we talk a lot of times how the right wing, they're really punchy with their slogans because, you know, they're simplistic and they don't require a lot of thought. Like pro-life, for example. Oh, how could you be against life? It's great. And one that I really enjoy is Chinese Communist Party. It rolls off the tongue and it sounds scary. And people are like, they always say it. Like they're like, oh, are you saying that we should be subjugated to the Chinese Communist Party? They love it. And of course it's absurd if you know what you're talking about. But as we mentioned before, most Americans don't know what they're talking about. And one thing you mentioned, John, that I want to point out is is there such thing as human rights? The answer is no. The answer is no. And I talk about this a lot in that in our global our status as not even just our status as a global hegemon, but just how we operate with other nations and how other nations run their countries. Human rights don't really exist. What actually exists are citizen rights. That's what people actually care about. And so, and you can see this in, like, you'll see a news report in that there was an earthquake in Kuala Lumpur and 400 people died, among them 2 Americans. Like, oh my God, 2 Americans died. Like, that's what you care about. There's a reason they say that. And like, citizenship rights are what people say. What?
Good point.
Yeah, and like, people care about like their nationalism, like that's the bond that holds them together. And so, and you'll see this, like, they even use it incorrectly, like for what John's mentioning, because so they'll tell you, like, with of no shame, that yeah, the Constitution doesn't apply to illegal immigrants. Yes, it does. Like yes, it does. Like the Constitution applies to anybody who's in the United States. They have constitutional rights because they are within our jurisdiction. But like, nope, it doesn't. Like, you can treat them any way you want. They have no rights whatsoever, because what really matters to people are citizen rights. Like, you got people who happen to be born inside the same imaginary lines that I was born in. They're important. We need to make sure they're taken care of. Everybody else, fuck them. They might as well be animals, as far as I'm concerned. That's how I see it.
Yeah. The thing that I like to, like, there's so many people right now who are saying, oh, it's a national security issue. It's like, okay, fine. Why now though? It has existed for the past several years. It's been massively popular, and all of the sudden there is this massive momentum to ban it. And it's like, what? Come on. Like, it's kind of like the Boeing whistleblower. It's like, come on, guys. What's the biggest thing going on TikTok? Oh, direct opposition to the American government. Oh, and this is the time where you decide to ban it. Like, come the fuck on. I actually hate that I'm having to agree with people I don't like. So like Rand Paul, I watched him on Fox News today, and it was like fantastic. He crushed it because it all makes sense. But like, there's so many people on the left who I find annoying because they're usually wrong and they're on my side, and I have to like be like, hey guys, they're not, but they're right. Like the conspiracy nuts are like, oh yeah, it's because of Palestine. It's like, yeah, of course it's because of fucking Palestine. Why else would it be happening right now? What else is going on where suddenly there's this massive bipartisan effort to ban TikTok? Why now? It doesn't make any sense. This has been a problem the entire time. It really pisses me off, honestly. There's not much more analysis to it than that.
Yeah, literally, fuck national security, man. Like, because that's like, who if we're letting America tell us what national security is, like, they'll say anything is national security. You know what I mean? They'll say like, birds in the sky.
The Chinese will spy on us. What the fuck do you think our government is doing? We know for a fact our government is spying on us. This has been public knowledge since like fucking 2000 whatever, when Snowden came out with it. Like, literally, Snowden. Who else? National security. And the other thing is, like, people are like, oh, TikTok is particularly bad. It's like crack cocaine for your brain. It's like, have you watched a single episode of Fox News? Their editing department, their graphics, it's like watching a fucking casino TV, and like it's insane. My TikTok don't have nearly the amount of gambling psychology behind them as the fucking legacy news media does. I know this because I study it and I do it. There's so much less danger to addiction and like mass fucking psychosis to TikTok, where anyone is allowed to put their stuff out there. There is no centralized editor that's going through this. And yeah, that means a lot of misinformation spreads, which would be something I would be concerned about if it wasn't for all the misinformation on legacy media. The entire past, if anyone's watching this and you are someone who understands the Palestine conflict, but thinks we should ban TikTok, just think about this. Like, for decades, all of legacy media, all of our media was entirely pro-Israel. They never said anything wrong about it. And most Americans just went with it. I don't understand how you can make an argument that TikTok is somehow more dangerous than that. Our legacy media has propped up an apartheid state for decades. And
And
TikTok is the problem. Oh yeah, go ahead, TJ.
I was going to say, I think you bring up a great point. And like, I remember there was this video going around from all the news stations, and they're talking about how dangerous social media news was. And it's like, y'all are so desperate. Y'all are fighting for your lives. Like, because y'all been running a 24-hour news cycle that is based on fear and bullshit propaganda, you know what I mean, for generations. And they're mad that TikTok came and beat them at their own game. Really, it's what they're mad at. They're mad that somebody is able to get information faster, easier, more acceptable, or more varied versions of the news, and they're upset about that. You know what I mean? And it just, Like tough titty. Get over it, get better. I want to say get good, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, what do y'all expect? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, you're gonna have to forgive me if I don't take criticism seriously from a news apparatus that lied us into the Iraq War. I'm sorry, like you guys lost all credibility a long fucking time ago. Like, yeah,
Great
a
point.
million people are dead.
A long time ago, it was within everyone's memory. Everyone remembers this. Like,
yeah.
I remember this. Like, I'm not that old.
Yeah, it's like you guys lied, covered up, and collaborated with an administration that led to the deaths of thousands of Americans and around 1 million people around the world. So yeah, maybe let the 19-year-old have a shot at it, because how much worse could they do than you did? That's how I like to see it. And also, one thing we haven't brought up yet is that they like to talk about the data collection. You know, it's like, oh my God, they're collecting your data. Can you believe the temerity of TikTok to collect your personal data? Maybe they're even like targeting you with ads. Maybe they're, maybe they're like overhearing what you say and like putting that in your feed. It's like, oh yeah, TikTok's the only place that does that. I've never seen that with Google or YouTube or Facebook or Snapchat. Like, yeah, it's like it's just so like insultingly transparent that it honestly, it has a lot of similarities to the Boeing thing, because no rational person could actually buy this, but they're doing it anyway because they can.
But that's the thing, PJ. No rational person can buy this, but most people do. Like the majority of Americans are for the TikTok ban. Yeah.
Are you serious?
I thought it was 30% that was for a TikTok ban.
I can't imagine that.
I thought I looked that up this morning. Maybe I'm wrong. Like I looked that up today and I saw.
I hope you're wrong.
Fuck. TikTok is like one of the most popular apps in the country. Like I can't imagine that they would the majority of people would
think it's not popular. As you said, it's only like about half the country has it, and the half the country that doesn't is old people, and there's a lot of them. You know,
well, I can see the old people saying that, but so there's this thing in politics. So this is kind of off base here, but trust me, I got a connection. Right, just be patient. So when you're dealing with marketing in politics or messaging in politics, what you never want to do is make it seem like you're taking stuff away from people. And this is why, like, saying something like, I'm not a fan of the phrase abolish the police. I'm not, because like I understand what the concept is for abolishing the police. I get it, but your average person does not. And so what they're thinking when you say abolish the police is there's going to be no law enforcement. Like it's just going to be, rampant in the streets. No one's going to protect you. You're going to be like, if someone breaks into your house, no one's going to call you. They think they're losing something. But if you say, hey, we are going to strengthen how the police work. We're going to lessen their workload by not sending them to bullshit calls. If there's a noise complaint, we don't want to use a valuable resource officer on that when they could be solving murders, investigating rapes, or stopping robberies. People are way more acceptable to something like that than saying we're going to take something from you. So like that's why it would surprise me, because people, even if like they're not big fans of TikTok, in general, they don't like, oh, we're going to snatch this away. You can't do it. That doesn't usually work well in politics. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
you gotta give people things. Yeah.
Pew did a poll a year ago. I just looked at it. It's 2-1 in favor of banning. It was a year ago, so that those numbers might have changed.
That is wild. That is wild.
But it's because it's like over like 79% of people over the age of 60 like don't use TikTok and want it banned because all the kids are fucking annoying.
Yeah,
like, that's really what it comes.
We should just all watch Fox News with our grandpas and grandmas.
Yeah, my nephew never calls me anymore. So if you get rid of TikTok, maybe
maybe he'll call.
Luckily, ByteDance bought off Trump somehow, and he's against it. So I don't think this is going to happen. But the one thing I can rely on is there's going to be Republicans who are going to obstruct this because Trump is against it. But
it's funny when Trump like wanders his way into a good position. It's so funny when this happens, like the COVID vaccine. That's the funniest thing on earth. That Trump Trump is stuck in this horrible position where he wants to brag about the obviously successful COVID vaccine, but the fucking chuds that vote for him hate it. It's really funny to watch that. So yeah, Trump does have pretty good political instincts, but he's but more often than not, he just bears the indelible stamp of his racist nature, and that comes out overall. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
I know. Did you guys see Michael Cohen's on TikTok now? He's out of jail and he's on TikTok campaigning for Biden and talking shit on Trump.
What?
Oh my God, I just saw him on live the other day. Fucking Michael Cohen got out of jail and he's just talking shit on Trump. I was like, this is the randomest shit ever.
Man.
Just get him on the show, TJ.
Can't trust anyone. Can't trust anyone. I mean, you can't trust Michael Cohen, Trump. Damn. I mean, the guy stabbing you in the back. That's awful. Yeah. That's awful.
Justin, definitely cut it right before that Michael Cohen.
Yeah, I wrote it down. 104.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
I wanted to ask you guys too. I don't know if this will be a segment or not. Maybe it will be, but when it comes to China, the left can be a little divided on that topic because there's
very true.
There's people on the left that are pro fucking China that are like, yo, we should be supporting China as the new world leader instead of America. I would say that they both suck in their own ways.
Oh yeah.
But are you guys more leaning anti-China? How do you guys feel about the country?
Go ahead. Well, I've been to China. I was there for a while, and so I can, as the resident Chinese expert here, speak. So when it comes to China, I mean, it depends on what you mean by am I pro China or not, because there's a ton of things to criticize China for.
Okay, I'll put it this way: if you were to say that China is about as bad as America, or would you say China is worse than America?
I'd say about as bad. I definitely say about as bad. The only difference is that the Chinese government they focus their human rights violation within the borders of China, specifically Western China. You guys know what I'm talking about. The United States does that as well, with the Black community and Latino community and immigrants and everything. But we also export it all around the globe. We force countries to capitulate to our will at the barrel of a gun. We've been toppling democratically elected leaders for a good 150 years now. So yeah. So I mean, honestly, if anything, I lean more toward America has done more damage. How many wars has China started in the last 30 years? Please tell me. I'd love to see the list and compare it to the list the United States has. But as far as so I just talking about, John, where some people there's these Sinophiles where they think that, oh man, if only China was the global superpower, things would be great. No, it'd probably be pretty similar. They would. There's no reason to believe they would act any differently or radically differently than us.
It would shift the numbers around, but it wouldn't really change anything.
They're exploiting the people in Afghanistan to get what is it, lithium? It's not lithium, whatever they're getting out of there, poppy and stuff. They do the same shit we do. But I think that what I would say, my ideal situation is similar to what we have now, almost exactly the same, is that we don't have a monopolar power structure on planet Earth, that we have two countries that are insanely big and insanely powerful that desperately need each other. And this is why, so you talk to conservatives, this happens all the time. It gets so frustrating. But, when you talk to conservatives, you have to talk to them like they're 10-year-olds. You have no choice. And I find this out when they talk about China, because they will swear up and down that any day now, the Chinese Communist Party is gonna, raise up their military. I know, and come after and come after the United States. People, that is not going to happen, because China is an export economy and we are an import economy, and we rely economically on each other. If the United States went through a major war with the country that we buy our supplies from, it hurts both countries. There is no benefit to anyone, to the United States and China fighting amongst themselves, and not just us. It actually has a domino effect to other countries that depend on us for goods and services as well, or China goods. So Yeah, that's not going to happen. Like, Nixon establishing good economic relationships with China was one of the best things he ever did, because it stopped this situation. Like we have with Russia. Like we have this like really bitter relationship with Russia, but we can, because what the fuck we care about Russia? Like what are we? Yeah, what are we getting out of there? I don't know. Salad dressing, but it's like it's but for China, on the other hand, like we absolutely need them, and they absolutely need us. And it's also people talk about how China. I can't remember how much of our national debt China has, and like, well, what if the Chinese recall that debt? All right, that's not how national debt works. First off, it's like, okay, the bill's due, you got to pay it now, otherwise we're going to send the military. But the fact that China is that China is a creditor nation to us, that gives them an even greater incentive to make sure we're a stable country, so they can get their money back. So that's my answer on this, is that I think that something close to what we have. Maybe China could be a bit stronger because we are the senior partner in this, but I'm not scared of China sending a nuke to Sacramento or something like that. I think that's absurd.
Why it's in my city?
Oh, I know.
I'm like, you picking me out.
It was a wild pool for a city. Like, you can pick any city, you pick Sacramento.
That was a dart in the target right there.
Chancellor Xi Jinping, I have the coordinates.
I'm sending him to the call right now.
He's 6'10". You cannot miss him.
Literally.
Are you really 6'10"?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
But to answer your question, John, I'm kind of in the same camp as TJ. Is like, I'm not pro China, but I'm also not like, oh, China is the boogeyman. I understand that being in the United States of America, we're probably going to have a biased perspective on what China is doing. I would say that my mind is pretty open to the idea of China doing some good things, but also like they're still going to trade wars against America. There's like a battle being fought here. They're not going to be the good guys either, but I want to look past China. I want to look past America to create a world that is like past all that. You know what I mean? I'm not. There's not. Everything's not black and white. They're not the good guys. We're the bad guys. Yada yada yada. It's just like it's all nuanced. So
I feel like there is this sentiment in America where like people crave the Cold War. Like, the Cold War was before me, but like when I learn about like the Cuban Missile Crisis, I go, oh shit. That sucks. I'm glad I'm not living during that time, because that seemed really, really bad for the entire world. And it feels like that should be clear and obvious to everyone. But I feel like there's this sentiment out there that we need some rival to push us farther. And it's like, nah, that's dumb. We can just work with them and build shit. Like that's how humans work. We get more done together. And I think it goes to what TJ was saying. It's just like, like just having China in front of a person, like a Chinese person, we think differently about them. The average American doesn't think that they're equal to them, that they're an equal human being. And they'll say all humans are born equal, but when you really fucking press them to it, no, they don't think Chinese people deserve the same rights. They don't think they have the same right to freedom of speech as we do. Yeah. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. It's an outgrowth of the national identity that we crafted for ourselves after World War II, because after World War II, we were the last superpower standing, like far and away. We were, Smitty, Werber, Jaegerman, Jensen. We were number one, and no one could possibly deny it. And so we then aimed our sights on the Soviet Union, because we worked with the communists to defeat the Nazis. But like, okay, now you guys are up next.
Y'all got nukes too? I heard y'all got nukes coming too. Oh yeah, let's get our nukes going.
We really wanted to side with the fascists. We really, really wanted to side with the fascists.
You know how hard the decision was to pick between communists and Nazis in the United States? Like, oh man,
we sat out of it for so long.
Yeah,
we really just we're just gonna see who wins this one.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and so I think John and I talked about this a long time ago, is that the Cold War went from what, like the Korean War in the 50s to, I think the George Bush Senior administration when the Berlin Wall collapsed and everything. And the United States military, like, first off, that was the American culture. We were capitalists. They were communists. They were the evil empire. That defined who we were, for decades. And we got used to this this idea of America as, you know, this knight in shining armor. And we defeated these dragons. We defeated the Nazis. And then we defeated the Soviets. We defeated these huge, powerful enemies, like worthy opponents. And after that, there were no more dragons left. Like they're gone. Like now it's just us. It's just just a knight standing in a field, tending to his horse, whatever. And it's boring as fuck. This guy lives to fight. So after that, we're like, okay, well, there's no dragons left. We're gonna attack a bunch of snakes now. Now we're gonna go after, tiny terror cells or tiny uprisings in Central America. And that's what we've kind of been rolling with. But now we finally got ourselves another dragon. Like, oh, thank God. Finally, we've been craving to decimate a dragon at some point. And Americans still yearn for that. And a lot of those people are still alive. Because, like, John, you said you weren't alive for the Cold War. A lot of Americans remember it you don't got to be that old to remember like the Cold War. Like if you're 50, 60 years old, you grew up in like the depths of the Cold War. Yeah. And the idea that there's another major communist country out there and they're technologically advanced and they got a lot of money. By the way, their population is 4 times as big as ours. That gets you rock fucking hard. You're like, oh, this is great. This is what we've been dreaming of. I can't wait to send my grandchildren to go fight them. Like they love this shit. So yeah, it's unfortunately part of like our militaristic identity. And this goes to like, worshiping the military as well. Oh, you boys are doing the best to make the world safe for democracy, not democracy in the workplace. Fuck that. But you're doing your best out there. And so, yeah, I think you're right, John. Like I would refer to this all the time during COVID all right. Remember when COVID sprang out in Wuhan in China? And there was talk that it came from a bat or the wet market in Wuhan. And then some people were saying, well, hey, there's a virology lab in Wuhan. Like maybe it came from there. And then people would twist it like, oh, well, what are you racist? Like, that's not an insane theory. Listen, like I'm telling you, like as far as like conspiracies go, that's not a wild one. That if a brand new virus no one has ever seen before came out of a town and that town had like a cave full of bats and a market where they sold meat and a goddamn virology lab, I know which one would be my first suspect. Like that doesn't make you a conspiracy theorist. But the problem was a lot of the people pushing that were just hungry for this neo-Cold War with China and not saying, oh, hey, perhaps the proper protocols weren't in place to make sure that novel viruses didn't escape. No, the Chinese released this on purpose, like a virus that kills everyone. It's not like Chinese people were immune from it. Like, why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense. But you're right, John. Like people have been aching for this Cold War, and it's dark to see. But I think it'll die down as time goes on. When the boomers, die off or whatever, because like the younger generation doesn't really seem to care, at least not quite as much.
They want us to take the bait so bad, though. They want us to take the bait. I mean, with the Wuhan virus, you know what I mean? It's what's happening in Taiwan as well. The fear mongering around, oh, they have a population that's so much bigger than us. You know what I mean? I think they want us to take that bait so we can just they want to see if we still got that military terrorism in us. And we're like, oh, they're hoping, the youth will catch on. But it's like, it's not happening, guys. No. If anything, we're going the opposite way.
Yeah. I was also just going to say that is definitely a good place to end the segment, but I hate how the fucking Democrats have, and by the Democrats, I mean like the actual Democrats, the politicians and liberal apparatus around them have like 180'd on that. Like, I hadn't even thought about this, but like TJ, what you brought up there, like when that was going on, the people saying, oh, lab leak were Trump and MAGA, and the liberals, the DNC, they were like, no, that's racist.
Yeah.
I was like, I agree that those guys are racist, and that's probably why they're saying that. But what they're saying kind of makes sense. Yeah. It's like I wouldn't go so far as to just say this is impossible. Like that's insane. And now those same people who were like, oh, you're racist for suggesting that the Chinese virology lab might have had a leak in the same location that we know this came from. Now we need to ban the app because China's so dangerous. Like, I just don't understand what the through line there is.
Yeah. The through line is lobbyists, I guess. It's that motherfucking APAC, bro. They said, hey, shit was sweet back then, not no more. Y'all better fall in line, y'all, with this check coming through, goddamn it.
That was good stuff. That was good stuff. I do have a hard 8, unfortunately, guys.
We've done
4 segments I have written down here.
What were our other 2?
We had conspiracies, and
no, I meant what were the other 2 we were supposed to do?
Oh, we were supposed to do Robert F. Kennedy and TikTok, Boeing, Robert F. Kennedy. What was the other one?
That was it. I think I saw on there. Let me check the email.
Oh, the Republican clusterfuck.
The RNC. The RNC.
I mean, honestly, if you got a hard out, I'm cool just cutting it. And then Goofy, if you want to join us any Wednesday, just let us know. Sure. And we can chat about whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Sure.
The RNC is a fun one. I love seeing the fact that Donald Trump is literally just taking over the entire RNC, and he's putting his daughter-in-law in charge of it, and they fired 60 staffers, and Donald Trump is like a commiserate con man. Like, the guy's going to go into the Swindler Hall of Fame. We all know how this is going to end. He is going to drain the RNC of every single penny, and couldn't happen to a better group of people. Couldn't happen to a better group. You love to see it. Yeah.
I think there's a half decent chance that Trump wins the presidency, but like Democrats sweep.
That will happen. There's not enough money, but we forgot to do the plug. I
was about to say we should do that. Yeah. So let's quickly end it. Did you tell Goofy what?
Yeah, I told him.
Yeah, I'm just going to say hi, my socials or whatever or something.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you for watching the show today. If you made it this far into the show, you are our favorite viewer. Not anyone else that made it this far. The one that is listening to this right now, you're our favorite. So thank you very much. However, if you haven't liked and subscribed, you just lost that title. So do it to get it back. And then after you do that, make sure to check out our guest, because he's pretty cool and he's going to tell you where you can find him.
All right, what's up, guys? Full-time streamer here, TikToker. You can find me anywhere, anytime at GoofyWise. Come check me out. Talk politics, talk anime, talk shows, talk movies. We're all about it.
Thanks a lot, man. GoofyWise is a great creator. I've been following him for a while. Fantastic content. I never had any beef with him until just now when he did the Gen Z heart, because my hands are too old and decrepit to do that. So it bothers me.
Mine are barely making it there, goddamn.
Yeah, it's like I got this shit going on here.
How do you do
this one? And this, it's like a peace sign, but you just turn it into a heart.
No, it's like fire in my joint. Yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, all 3 of us. Please check out his content, and we appreciate you guys. Peace out. All right.
That hurts my hands.
Bro, it was hard. It was hard for me to do it for a second. I was like, hold on. But I think that well, first of all, thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a blast. I really appreciate it.
Good shit.
Thank you, Goofy. Definitely.
Yeah.
TJ,